It's your boy, man, the one and only Ghetto Caster, back at it again with another video, man. I've been procrastinating on this one too. My bad, guys. If you watch the football videos, you know what I'm talking about. Today I will be dropping my playoff teams that I think will make the playoffs. In like the orders I think they will make. I know a lot of you guys won't agree with the orders I made, but that's on you guys. It's my opinion, not your opinion, so bear with me. If you guys want to, make your list down in the comment section when I drop this video. Another thing, I love you guys. Thank you guys for supporting me, and just keep watching the videos and keep liking, keep sharing the videos, and we're on this road to make it to 100 subscribers and just keep building. But if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. But let's get into this video. I'm going to start off with the AFC teams first. As you guys know, the NFL season has changed, like the rankings and stuff like that. So it's not like two teams that get like the bye week in the playoffs. It's only one this year. So the first seed team will have the bye week, but every other team has to play. And by that happening, they added an extra team. So it's actually 7 teams that make the playoffs, but only 6 of them play in that week. So my first team that I have ranked at the top of the AFC in the playoffs, who will actually get a bye week, to me, is the Kansas City Chiefs. I messed that up right there. I stuttered a little bit, just a little bit. But the Kansas City Chiefs, I feel like them coming off a Super Bowl, their team is still exactly the same. I felt like they're only going to get better through the offseason and stuff like that. As you guys seen, I think the Ravens last year were the #1 seed team, but the Ravens never do anything in the playoffs. They're like a regular season team. But forget the Ravens right now. We'll talk about them next. But I feel like the Kansas City Chiefs will be the #1 seed coming off of a Super Bowl win. Their team is still intact. They still got the same defense, same offense. Patrick Mahomes is only going to get better. Tyreek Hill is only going to get better. I feel like I can actually finally see a season of his where he might hit 1,000 catching yards, so receiving yards. I actually feel like this will be that season where he steps out of the shadow and stuff of Travis Kelce, because as you guys know, if you really do watch football, Travis Kelce is the best receiver on the team, even though he's a tight end. And then even after that, I won't sleep on Sammy Watkins either. But yes, my #1 team in the AFC to be the #1 seed is the Kansas City Chiefs. My #2 seed in the AFC will be the Baltimore Ravens. Like I said, guys, last year they were like the best team in the league during the regular season. Lamar Jackson's only going to get better. He's probably working on his arm right now to get his arm better. The running back duo now with J.K. Dobbins and Mark Ingram will be pretty damn good. I don't know about Baltimore's O-line. I know they have a good O-line, but I didn't watch a lot of Baltimore games like that, because where I live, most of the games that come on the TV aren't Baltimore. It's usually like Cincinnati or the Browns, because I'm in Ohio. So yeah, so I don't know how their O-line is like that, because as you guys see when you watch the Ravens, Lamar Jackson is running a lot, but he also does throw. But like I said, that offense, I feel like is going to get better. I think they picked up a receiver. I can't remember in the draft. Marquise Brown is only going to get better. I love Willie Snead. I wish he didn't leave the Saints, but when he was with us, he was okay. He wasn't that great, but I hope he can put up big numbers with you guys this year. I did see a little bit of his game last year. He was all right. He wasn't that great, but he was all right. Your guys' defense has got a little bit better. I can't even say a little bit better. You guys got one of the best D linemen. I'm talking to the Ravens fans if you guys don't know. But you guys got a lot better because you got one of the best D linemen in the league in Calais Campbell. And then you have one of the best safeties in the league in Earl Thomas. And then to me, a lot of people will sleep on the Ravens cornerback duo, but I feel like that it might be the best duo cornerback-wise in the league with Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters. But all I see is the Ravens doing is getting better. And let's hope they can actually finally win a playoff game this year. But my number 3 seed is the Buffalo Bills. The Bills were great last year, but this year I feel like they will really take off because the Patriots got worse because they lost Tom Brady. I also do see the Patriots still doing good, but I do not see them making the playoffs this year. But like I said, I feel like the Buffalo Bills has taken over that division and will be the best team in that division. They just added a nice receiver that has like one of the best releases in the game, and Stephon Diggs. So I feel like him and Brown, I think his name is, the other receiver, John Brown, will put up some good numbers for Josh Allen. And I can't think of who they have at running back, but their defense is nice too. Especially, I feel like Tre'Davious White is a top corner in the league, and to me, he's actually, to me, in my opinion, he is actually fighting for that number 1 spot between Jalen Ramsey and Stephon Gilmore. A lot of people won't probably say Jalen Ramsey's in it, but a lot of people don't watch Jalen Ramsey. People just think he just talks shit, but he actually puts in the work. And if you guys watch his film, he actually puts in work against the top receivers in the league. But I see the Buffalo Bills doing something big this year, especially like I said, the Patriots are downfalling because they don't have Tom Brady. But don't sleep on the Patriots. I still feel like they might be able to make the playoffs just because of Belichick. I haven't seen their quarterback, who is now their quarterback, play, so I don't know how he is, which, as you guys know, it's an actual system for the Patriots, so they might be able to make it. They might be able to slip into the 6th or 7th seed, because my 6th and 7th seed might catch you guys off guard, and some of you guys might not agree with me, but I feel like that will be the 6th and 7th seed when I get there. My 4th seed team for the AFC is the Tennessee Titans. I feel like they would just get better. As you guys seen last season, the Titans caught everybody off guard and went into the AFC Championship game, and I feel like they might catch everybody off guard again this year. But yeah, the Titans will probably be a great team again this year. They have the same team. I just feel like they might want to hurry up and pay Derrick Henry in like the middle of the season so he can stay with them. They have a nice young receiving core, and A.J. Brown and what's his name, Corey Davis. But yeah, that's a great receiving core that they have for the Tennessee Titans. Their defense, they got Kevin Byard, Kenny Vaccaro, who used to play for my team in the Saints. But I feel like the Titans will be a sleeper team again this year, and a lot of people will sleep on them, and they will actually come out to prove people wrong again this year. My number 5 team, I know my bro P will be happy when I say this. He'll probably be pissed off and be like, man, they should be number 1. But my number 5 team is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I see big things coming out of them this year. They have a weak schedule in my opinion, but they also have a good schedule, so you never know with the NFL. So like they have like 8 good teams that they play against, or 9, and out of those 9 they can lose all of them. You never know, because even in their division is kind of tricky. I wouldn't sleep on anybody in that division now. Even the Bengals could come out of anywhere. Like even though like they suck, they can still win a game. It's the NFL. Remember, these are professional athletes, guys, so anything can happen. But the Steelers, I have them getting better. A lot of people will probably hate me for this, but Juju Smith-Schuster is not a number 1 receiver in the league or a number one receiver on his team. I feel like that Claypool guy that they just picked up in the draft will become the actual number one receiver, because a lot of the top corners will guard Juju like how they guarded AB when Juju was a rookie. And Juju won't be able to get the ball as much because he won't be able to create separation like that. I feel like Claypool will put up the numbers that Juju did in his first year as a rookie. My bad, guys, for saying second. As his first year in the league, and will be that number one receiver, and everybody will look over him, and then he would just take off and actually become the Pittsburgh Steelers' number one receiver. And my bad if I'm saying the wrong name, but I'm talking about the receiver that you guys got from Notre Dame. But my 6th seed in the AFC is the Los Angeles Chargers. A lot of people, to me, will sleep on the Chargers, but a lot of people also forget that the Chargers, to me, have the best defense in the league when healthy. Especially now, like DB wise, their team is freaking amazing. Just between Derwin James and Chris Harris Jr. and stuff like that. And then Joey Bosa on the line, Melvin Ingram on the line, Casey Hayward. They have a freaking great DB and line selection. I think they don't have, I don't know what linebackers they have, but I know their D-line and their DB guys are stacked. Like, they are stacked. Their offense, I still feel like it's kind of shaky. As you guys know, they got rid of Melvin Gordon. My bad, guys. That's what happens when you try to process everything and it goes fast. They got rid of Melvin Gordon, who plays for the Denver Broncos now. I forget who their running back is. I think it's Austin Eckler. But I know they have a good running back, but he's not that great. But he's good enough to actually be able to get them somewhere. So I wouldn't sleep on the Los Angeles Chargers either. Keenan Allen, in my opinion, is a top 10 receiver in the league. I can't think of the other receiver that they have, but he is crazy, man. Number 81, if you guys know who I'm talking about, who used to play for Clemson. But he's good. And then it's just between like the quarterback situation. They don't know if they want to go with Tyrod Taylor or if they want to go with Justin Herbert. I feel like they should just go with Tyrod Taylor at the beginning and then probably switch to Justin Herbert. Because when you guys remember when Tyrod Taylor played for the Browns, they won like a game and then he started struggling. And then Baker Mayfield came in and then they just took off. I could see that happening again, but I actually see that being able to happen and taking them to the playoffs. But my number 6 team is the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, my number 7 team will probably catch a lot of people off guard and be like, man, they are overrated. I don't understand like why they're even on this list. My number 7 team is the Cleveland Browns. I see the Browns being able to make it after getting the new head coach. I think they took the Vikings offensive coordinators, which was freaking amazing, because Kitchens was not doing shit. He fucking sucked at head coach. I see them being able to take off as long as Baker Mayfield actually listens to the coach. Odell's able to listen to the coach. They're getting the right play calls, because a lot of people don't know, even in like sports, if you're not getting the right play calls, you can lose the game like that. So I feel like that's a lot of the reasons why the Browns lost a lot, because as you guys see, if you go back to look at their record and stuff, like the Browns lost real close games. But stuff happens like that where coaches call the dumbest plays and you just throw interceptions, or you run the wrong routes, or you like, it's just so dumb because the coaches like called the wrong plays. So I feel like with the Browns being able to have 2 great running backs in Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubbs, that they will be able to take over again, which will also open up the field for Odell and Jarvis Landry. I don't know who's going to start between Austin Hooper and David Njoku. Unless they do some crazy stuff how the Patriots did a long time ago and run 2 tight ends, which I could see, because I don't know who the Browns' third receiver is. But I could really see something like that. The Browns' defense is young, which will also get better. Who they picked up Delpit from LSU, and they picked up a linebacker from LSU, who were both great at LSU. A lot of people slept on Delpit, who was one of the best safeties in the draft. To me, maybe the second best safety in the draft, and I don't know why he dropped to like the 3rd round. But yeah, guys, I feel like the Browns will catch a lot of people off guard and will actually slip into that number 7 spot. But let's get to the NFC. A lot of you guys might think I'm a little biased because who I have at number 1, but I just want you guys to know the reason I have like these teams like the way they are, and I'm probably like leaving out certain teams, is because you got to remember, guys, like these teams did not switch around like the main positions that like really count. Like their team has been stuck together and they know how certain players play. So my number 1 team, a lot of people might think is like, oh my god, bro, for real, that's who you picked? I picked the New Orleans Saints. Yes, they are my favorite team, but you guys got to understand, last season we were fighting for the number 1 spot with the 49ers and the Packers, which ended in a 3-way tie, which I feel like we should have been the number 1 seed last year, but we lost to the 49ers in a game where our defense did not show up. As you guys, if you guys watched it, our defense did not show up that whole game. And if our defense would have showed up that whole game, that game would have looked bad for the 49ers. And I just don't want to say that because I'm a Saints fan. I give the 49ers their props. They did win the game. But if our defense would have showed up, it would have been a whole different game. But the Saints, the key addition that we picked up, we actually stole from the 49ers. And this is the main reason I have the 49ers a little lower on the list, because they lost their best receiver, and we actually took their best receiver in Emmanuel Sanders. So I feel like as a Saints fan and as an NFL fan, we will be the number 1 seed as long as our defense can stay healthy. Our offense can stay healthy like every other team. Just it's all about health, because if you guys know, we like our whole receiving core was out through the season. Like our only receiver was Jared Cook and Michael Thomas, because all of our other receivers were like hurt, and we had to release a lot of people this off season because they were hurt and there was no point in bringing them back. So yeah. And also, a lot of people don't know, Alvin Kamara, he missed like 4 games at the beginning of the season, and then he was like hurt, like the rest of the season playing hurt. Drew Brees also missed a lot of games of the season, even though Teddy Bridgewater did step up and get us some W's. Drew Brees missed a lot of the season, so you guys got to think about that too. My number 2 team, which might shock a lot of people, and a lot of people might not understand why I have them at number 2 instead of 3 or 4. I actually have the Seattle Seahawks. I have the Seahawks at the number 2 spot in the NFC, because I feel like the Seahawks will actually be a great team this up and coming year. I feel like DK Metcalf will be even better this year than last year. Him and Tyler Lockett will ball out this year for Russell Wilson. They will do big things and get big numbers. I know for sure the Seahawks have great running backs. Especially if they bring back Marshawn Lynch, which would be a great addition again. So there's another running back I cannot think of, but I always play Madden with him. But he plays for the Seahawks, and he's a great person to use in Madden. If you guys know who I'm talking about, you know who I'm talking about. The key piece really to their offense is Russell Wilson. Like I said, he'll be putting up big numbers again. I feel like he will. Let me slow down. I feel like he will have MVP season. But the main thing that I feel like the main key addition that's on their team is Bobby Wagner on the defensive side. You guys also got to remember the Seahawks. They like their whole defense was gone after like Richard Sherman left and Earl Thomas left. Like their whole defense they just got rid of, and they just built around Bobby Wagner on the defensive side. But I feel like their defense will be even better this year, even though they're a little young. But at the same time, they are matured and they know what they're doing. The number 3 spot, which you guys probably would feel like should be number 2, I have the San Francisco 49ers. As you guys know, they're coming off of a Super Bowl loss, which might motivate them. But at the same time, when teams lose the Super Bowl, as you guys can tell, the Falcons, the Panthers, when they lost, they disappeared. Like a lot of teams, when they lose the Super Bowl, they disappear for a little bit. But I have the 49ers coming in at 3. Their defense has not changed, but the reason I have them at 3 is because like I can't actually trust any of their receivers. Even though Deebo Samuel is cool, you have to think, like, now he's the number 1 receiver on the team. Even though they have George Kittle, I'm not going by tight ends. I'm going by receivers. He's the number 1 receiver on the team. Now everybody is actually watching him. So he's going to have to do Emmanuel Sanders production for the 49ers this year. George Kittle is going to be better. Even though he was freaking amazing last year, he's going to be better. Deebo, I feel like will get better. Jimmy, I feel like will get better. But at the same time, you never know with Jimmy Garoppolo. And like I said, their defense is still great. It's still great. So I won't sleep on the 49ers. But at the same time, you never know what can happen with teams after they lost the Super Bowl. My number 4 team might not surprise you, because I don't feel like this should surprise anyone. I feel like they should be in the top 4 in anybody's list, is the Green Bay Packers. It's hard to put Aaron Rodgers out of the top 4 in the playoffs, especially after they just picked up Jordan Love. They just picked up another quarterback to go up against a star quarterback for like a starting job in like 2 years. Like, that's just fueling the fire right there, man. Like, Aaron Rodgers is already one of the best quarterbacks in the game. He's mobile, and he can just throw any type of ball and, like, get it to his receivers. But also, I see a big year from Davante Adams. I looked at his stats when I did my top 10 receiver list. I wanted to put him on there so bad, but out of all of the receivers that I put on that list, he did not compete with any of those receivers on that list, which actually kind of disappointed me, because I wanted him to be on that list because he's a great receiver. But I feel like with the Packers defense and Jair Alexander at cornerback, I feel like he will ball out again. I feel like he'll be a top 5 corner this year. I can't say last year because I really didn't watch that much of him. But yeah, I feel like Davante Adams and stuff, they will have a big year. I am a little disappointed in the Packers draft, because they should have easily picked up another receiver, or at least a tight end. They should have picked up one of the 2 for Aaron Rodgers, but they picked up their franchise quarterback in the couple of years that are coming. My number 5 team will really shock you, but to me it shouldn't shock anybody, especially when their team has like been hurt since they lost in the Super Bowl. Their team has been hurt since they lost in the Super Bowl. So this should shock you. Like, it'll shock you a lot. It's not going to shock me because I made this list, and I feel like they will have a great season, and nobody should be able to sleep on them. But you will be able to sleep on them. But I feel like you shouldn't be able to. My number 5 spot, I have the Atlanta Falcons. You guys got to remember, man, they literally have one of the best wide receiver duos in the league, man, between Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones. Like, Julio Jones is already a top 3 receiver in the league, and Calvin Ridley, if he wanted to go to certain teams, he really could be the number 1 receiver for certain teams. Like, you guys got to remember that. And then Matt Ryan, he's going to come back healthy. Todd Gurley, I see a big season from him. He's the only main key addition that they got, really, that's new to the team. And that's a running back. So that position really doesn't matter that much to, like, take them backwards. Like, it's just going to take them over the top. That's it. But on the offensive side, I see great things. And then they got Hayden Hurst from the Ravens. And he's a young tight end who was actually pretty good for the Ravens. Because the Ravens just drafted him last year, I think. So they have a young tight end who's easily going to be able to develop and become great because he's around Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. Defensive side, the only thing about the defensive side, they have a great middle linebacker in Deion Jones. The only bad thing, and Keanu Neal at safety, the only bad thing about the defensive side, this is the main reason I feel like the Falcons have not made the playoffs in such a long time, because they haven't made the playoffs in like 3 years, I think. I feel like they haven't made the playoffs in such a long time is because every year they haven't made it, their defense is hurt. So they always go like 6-8 or whatever, 7-9. It's like, well, my bad, 6-10, 7-9. They always go like that because of their defense is always hurt. But I feel like if their defense can stay healthy this year, their defense will be amazing, and their offense automatically will be amazing, and I feel like they could compete again. So do not sleep on the Atlanta Falcons this year. Now, my 6th team is in a 3-way tie. I can see all 3 of these teams making the playoffs. I actually have, now this might surprise people. Actually, I'm not even going to say a 3-way tie. I'll say no, forget the 3-way tie. I'm going to get rid of these teams. I'm going to just give you one team I feel like will actually make this playoffs in the 6th seed. I feel like it will be the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears will probably catch a lot of people off. But matter of fact, let me put 2 teams. Let me put two teams. I feel like the Chicago Bears, number 1, their defense is amazing still. Their defense is great. Nothing has changed on the defensive side. I feel like the defensive side would just get better. I feel like Khalil Mack has a big year coming out of him, and I feel like it's just that type of team, man. But it all depends on the offensive side and how Allen Robinson, and it depends who is the starting quarterback. It depends on who is the starting quarterback. Now, if it's Nick Foles, I will say they have a great chance to make the playoffs. Now, if it's Mitch Trubisky, forget this. Forget the Bears team that I put in. I will put in the Eagles or the Cowboys at the 6th spot over them. But if it's, like I said, Nick Foles, I can see them making the playoffs. They just need a great, consistent quarterback who's not scared under the pressure and who can compete in that NFC North division between the Packers and the Vikings and stuff like that. But also in the 6th seed, I also have the Eagles and Cowboys. I can see either one of them making it too. The Eagles, it all depends on the receiving core and can they stay healthy. They picked up Darius Slay, who was a great cornerback. But the other thing is, at the same time, I can't see the Eagles. So, guys, forgive me for putting the Eagles in there. I would rather see the Minnesota Vikings in the 6th seed, fighting with the Bears and the Cowboys for the 6th seed, because I can't even think of who the Eagles DBs are or who even plays on the defense of the Eagles anymore, because they got rid of Jenkins and he came back to the Saints. So I can't even put the Eagles in there really yet. But like I said, guys, the 6th seed really consists of 3 teams I feel like can actually make a running for the 6th seed between the Bears, Cowboys, and the Vikings. Now, my 7th seed should not catch anybody off guard. I feel like this team, after they made the Super Bowl, they slipped up a little bit, but I feel like they'll be back at it. Their defense is freaking amazing. Their offense is still great. It just depends on the quarterback play again. Their coaching is amazing. But I feel like this quarterback will have an MVP season. At least an MVP season. I know he'll be up at the top. I feel like he will have a great season this year, especially with all of his receivers being healthy again. And their defense being able to be a top 5 defense again. I have the Los Angeles Rams at the 7th seed. You got to think, you literally have one of the top corners in the league who is a top 3 corner in Jalen Ramsey. You still have the best D lineman in Aaron Donald. Your offensive side, you have one of the best receivers, a top 10 receiver in Cooper Kupp. You have Jared Goff, who can ball out if he really wants to. If you guys have not seen the Chiefs game, you need to go watch that when the Rams play the Chiefs. If Jared Goff wants to, he can ball out. I really do see a big season from him. You also have Robert Woods on that side. I think they picked up a receiver this year in the draft who was great. Like, their team is great. It's all on Jared Goff. Like, how are you going to play this year? But I see him balling out this year. A lot of you might not agree with me, but I feel like the Rams will be in it. So, my NFC 7 teams are the Saints number 1, the Seahawks number 2, 3 the 49ers, 4 the Packers, 5 the Falcons, 6 between the Bears, Cowboys, and Vikings, and then 7th the Rams. A lot of you guys would probably wonder why I left out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but you guys got to understand, Gronk is coming back after a whole year off, and you guys also have to remember, Gronk is injury prone as shit. Like, he gets hurt a lot. He is very injury prone. So, even though you took a year off, this is football. And coming from a football player, you're getting hit hard and all of that. And you guys also got to remember, Tom Brady is not in the weak division no more. Like, his division sucked. He didn't play any great D linemen. He's playing great D linemen this year in his division twice a year. So, he's going to get hit. He's going to get hit. And if they call flags for Tom Brady, a lot of people will say it's rigged. So, I don't see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers making it. I see them making it to like the 8th seed, even though there's not no 8th seed. But you guys got to remember, the NFC is one of the hardest conferences in the NFL. Like, one of the hardest. It is the hardest conference in the NFL. The NFC is the hardest conference in the NFL. You don't know what can happen in the NFC. But like I said, I don't see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers making it this year, even though I'm a Saints fan, and you guys will probably think I'm hating. I'm not hating. I do still see big numbers coming out of Mike Thomas and Chris Godwin, but at the same time, like I said, Gronk is coming back from being injured in the Super Bowl and stuff like that and taking a year off and is very injury prone. Tom Brady cannot run. He can't run. And he's playing against great D lines in his division twice a year. And if you guys go back and watch Tampa Bay Buccaneers stuff, there is no O-line for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, guys. Like, you guys got to remember that. They don't have an O-line. If you guys go back and watch games from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they didn't block for Jameis Winston, and Jameis Winston had to get out the pocket a lot and scramble. He was still being able to throw the ball up, but you guys got to remember, he was scrambling and throwing like the ball. Tom Brady can't do that anymore. And Tom Brady really never did that. He was always a pocket passer. And he doesn't have a strong arm like Jameis Winston. But, like I said, I don't see them making it. But my AFC 7 is the Chiefs, Ravens, Bills, Titans, Steelers, Chargers, and the Browns. That is my AFC 7 playoff teams and my NFC playoff teams. If you guys like the video, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But let me know what you guys want to see next. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Your boy, the one and only Ghetto Casper, is out, man.